Legend has it that Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, declared that no man would ever discover her final resting place. But perhaps the queen's statement wasn't about gender at all. Maybe she simply desired eternal peace, undisturbed by any living soul, and remarkably, it was a woman who came closer than anyone before to uncovering the secrets of Cleopatra's tomb. Imagine, if you will, Kathleen Martinez Bry, a brilliant criminal lawyer who traded courtrooms for ancient ruins. Captivated by Cleopatra's story, she embarked on a daring expedition to Egypt, fueled by pure determination, without official support or even permission from the authorities. Kathleen had always been exceptional. She excelled in school, mastering piano, chess, swimming, and martial arts. By the age of 19, she had already earned her law degree. Archaeology was her passion. She had never set foot in Egypt, never unearthed a single artifact, but her fascination with Cleopatra began with a debate with her father back in 1990. One day, searching for a copy of Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra in her father's library, she overheard him casually dismiss Cleopatra as a mere seductress. Kathleen vehemently disagreed, arguing that history had unfairly judged Cleopatra. The Romans, she insisted, had deliberately tarnished her reputation, and for centuries people had blindly accepted their biased account. The debate raged for hours until her father, Fausto Martinez, professor and legal expert, conceded that he might have been too critical of Cleopatra. This conversation proved transformative for Kathleen. From that moment on, she devoured every ancient text she could find, particularly Plutarch's account of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. The more she learned, the more convinced she became that Cleopatra was far more than just a queen who fell for the wrong man. She was a brilliant strategist, playing a dangerous political game to preserve Egypt's independence. The thought began to nag at her. What if everyone had been searching for Cleopatra's tomb in the wrong location all along? The idea consumed her. While raising her second child, she pursued a master's degree in archaeology, reigniting a passion that would soon dominate her life. Uncovering the truth about Cleopatra. While many experts believe that Cleopatra's tomb, along with those of the other 13 Ptolemaic rulers, lay somewhere beneath modern-day Alexandria, Kathleen Martinez had a different theory. She believed Cleopatra was buried at Taposiris Magna, an ancient temple dedicated to Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife. But to prove her theory, she needed an ancient foundation plate. These plates, about the size of a modern smartphone, were placed beneath important temple structures. They often contained inscriptions detailing when and why the temple was built. If she could find a plate confirming that the temple was dedicated to Isis, Cleopatra's patron deity, she would have solid evidence to support her claim. Undaunted, Martinez meticulously excavated the entire temple site, digging deeper than anyone before her. Her team unearthed coins bearing Cleopatra's name and image, a clear indication of Cleopatra's direct connection to the site. Then, they made an even more intriguing discovery. A tunnel that once carried water to the people, leading directly from the temple to the Mediterranean Sea. Could it be that parts of the temple had already succumbed to the waves? Could Cleopatra's tomb be hidden beneath the water? To convince the Egyptian authorities to allow an underwater search, Martinez needed concrete proof. Against all odds, she found the missing foundation plate. The inscription revealed that the pharaoh had dedicated a vast area of Nubia to the deity Isis. It was the confirmation she needed. The temple was indeed dedicated to Isis, validating her theory. If one temple remained on land, Martinez reasoned, the second temple, possibly Cleopatra's tomb, must have collapsed into the sea. She needed the expertise of underwater archaeologists. She reached out to Robert Ballard, the man who discovered the wreck of the Titanic. With the support of the Egyptian authorities, she and her team began exploring the waters off the coast of Alexandria. What they found was astonishing. Imagine the scene. Underwater, they discovered colossal stone structures, some towering 6 to 10 feet tall, precisely where the coastline would have been thousands of years ago. They also found basalt blocks, identical to those used in the statues from the first temple. This could only mean one thing. These weren't just random rocks. They were the remnants of a lost city, submerged beneath the sea for centuries. Now, all we can do is wait and see whether Martinez and her team will ultimately discover Cleopatra's last hiding place. The mystery continues. Imagine diving into a lost world, a time capsule submerged beneath the waves. We find ourselves off the coast of Baia, Italy, exploring what was once a playground for emperors and senators. These aren't mere ruins. They're echoes of a lavish past, now populated by fish instead of people. Here, amidst swaying seaweed, we see the remains of ancient Roman boats, their wooden skeletons now adorned with marine life. This is no ordinary dive. It's a journey through Claudio's Nymphaeum, a museum where history is etched in stone and coral. To our left, classical Greek statues stand guard, their marble surfaces softened by centuries underwater. As we swim down the Via Herculeana, the path leads to Villa a Proiro. These villas, once the epitome of Italian style, now reveal their original marble floors to the patient diver. Notice the intricate black and white patterns, the astonishing shapes that speak of a sophisticated past. The currents guide us towards Portus Julius. Can you make out the collapsing wall structures on the seafloor? Look closer. Remarkably preserved columns and limestone floors emerge from the gloom. Behold the ruins of the thermal baths of Lacus. Even now, the remaining multicolored mosaics hint at the splendor that once was. Orange, blue, and green tiles shimmer in the filtered sunlight, a testament to the artistry of a bygone era. At Pones of Apilla, a forest of 25 preserved Roman pillars rises from the seabed. Take in the arches, the nearby frescoes, and the sheer scale of this well-kept treasure. This city, Baia, thrived thanks to its location over natural volcanic vents. Hot springs gurgled to the surface, offering therapeutic waters and a luxurious escape. People flocked here to indulge in the good life. And when we say people, we mean some of the most powerful figures in Roman history: Nero, Cicero, Caesar. But around the 8th century, disaster struck. The city was sacked, its opulent inhabitants scattered. Slowly but inevitably, the water level rose, and Baia began its long descent into the sea. Now, let's shift our perspective. Imagine yourself on a summer vacation off the coast of Greece, 4 hours outside of Athens, on the Peloponnese Peninsula, near Pavlopetri. The sun is blazing, the water inviting. You grab your snorkel and fins, ready for a free dive. As you explore the seabed, patterns begin to emerge from the sandy floor. Just 13 feet below the surface, the outlines of familiar objects materialize one by one. As you swim further, the ghostly silhouette of an entire city rises before your very eyes. How could an entire city be submerged like this? Rocks are aligned with perfect precision, forming what appears to be the foundation of buildings. This is Pavlopetri, a lost city rediscovered. Nicholas Fleming, a British oceanographer vacationing in Greece, stumbled upon Pavlopetri while documenting seafloor artifacts. His team unearthed pots, storage vessels, and tools, remnants of daily life in this ancient port. A quernstone used for grinding grains into flour was among the finds. Multiple amphorae suggest that this settlement dates back to the Bronze Age, 500 years ago, when people began forming towns. This vibrant settlement endured for over 2,400 years. Pavlopetri is now recognized as the oldest submerged town ever discovered. And what's truly remarkable is that it wasn't just a simple village. It was a thriving port city, complete with stone buildings, a bustling marketplace, well-defined streets, and even public squares. Now, let's venture further, seeking secrets in other underwater cities. We find ourselves diving off the coast of the Ryukyu Islands in Japan. Here, the Pacific waters are far from tranquil. A powerful current threatens to pull you into the abyss. Suddenly, a colossal structure looms into view, illuminated by sunlight penetrating the depths. At first glance, it resembles the ruins of Machu Picchu, transported across the globe from Peru. As you approach, its form becomes clearer. A pyramid-shaped structure, complete with arches and staircases. It could easily be mistaken for a palace or a castle. Could this be another sign of ancient human activity? This is the Yonaguni Monument, also known as Japan's Atlantis. The entire monument stretches across an area the size of 5 football fields and rises to the height of a 5-story building. Its most striking feature is its expansive terraces, seemingly designed for large gatherings. Explorers and scientists estimate that Yonaguni dates back 10,000 years. However, the question of whether it's a man-made structure or a natural formation remains a topic of heated debate. Professor Masaki Kimura, Japan's leading marine geologist, firmly believes that Yonaguni is the legacy of a lost civilization. Kimura has explored the ruins over 100 times in the last decade. In his view, the evidence of human activity is undeniable. The triangular pool located on the monument's surface is a triangular-shaped concavity, a historical symbol of water fountains in the region. A giant turtle is carved on the eastern side of the structure, and turtles hold deep cultural significance in this part of the world. Several stone tools have been recovered from the site, dating back approximately 10,000 years. However, not all scientists share this conviction. Many argue that Yonaguni is the result of thousands of years of erosion. The fact that the monument is composed of a single massive rock formation leads them to believe it's not human-made. The defined edges and flat surfaces bear a striking resemblance to a natural formation in Northern Ireland known as the Giant's Causeway. There, a series of interlocking basalt columns resembles the ruins of a palace, but they are entirely the work of nature. Let's journey beneath the waves, where secrets of the past lie submerged, waiting to be rediscovered. Our next destination is a once thriving metropolis, now a ghostly underwater archaeological park. Imagine the city of Port Royal, Jamaica. Today, it exists only in the silent depths, but in 1692, it reigned as one of the wealthiest and most important cities in the entire Western Hemisphere. Port Royal served as the beating heart of the British Empire in the region, a vital trade hub that drew merchants, sailors, and adventurers from every corner of the globe. It was even a notorious haven for the real-life pirates of the Caribbean, a place where fortunes were made and lost with every roll of the dice. But fate, as it often does, had a cruel twist in store. Picture the morning of June 7th, 1692. The bustling taverns and vibrant marketplaces of Port Royal were teeming with life, unaware of the impending catastrophe. Suddenly, the ground began to shake violently. An earthquake of unimaginable force, estimated to be a staggering 7.5 on the Richter scale, ripped through the city, tossing people from their beds and shattering the illusion of stability. One terrified survivor recounted witnessing the earth itself opening up, swallowing the town hall whole. His account rings true, for Port Royal was built primarily on unstable sand. The ground turned treacherous, sucking down buildings, roads, and the unfortunate souls caught above. Geysers of water erupted from the earth, followed by colossal waves, some towering as high as 10-story buildings, crashing into the already devastated city. In a matter of moments, approximately 33 acres of Port Royal vanished beneath the waves, swallowed by the unforgiving sea. What's truly remarkable is that much of the city's 17th century remains lie remarkably well preserved beneath about 40 feet of water. Divers and archaeologists have explored the submerged ruins, discovering taverns, storage rooms, kitchens, and various recreational structures, offering a glimpse into the daily lives of its former inhabitants. You can still see a majestic lion statue, a partially submerged bridge, and many elegant arches, silent witnesses to a bygone era. Now prepare for a voyage to the exotic shores of India. Just off its coast lies another breathtaking underwater marvel, a site known as the Lost City of Cambay, nestled in the Gulf of the same name. This ancient city remained hidden from the world until 2001, when the National Institute of Ocean Technology conducted a routine underwater assessment. Using sonar technology, which emits sound waves to map the ocean floor, they stumbled upon something extraordinary far beneath the surface. The sonar images revealed distinct geometric shapes stretching across an impressive 5-mile expanse. Recovered artifacts have been dated to over 9,500 years ago, suggesting that this civilization vanished around the end of the last ice age. Among the debris retrieved from the site were construction materials, pottery shards, beads, sculptures, and even fragments of bone. While some scientists debate the origin and authenticity of these artifacts, their discovery, if confirmed, would rewrite history, potentially making the lost city of Cambay the oldest known civilization on Earth. Our journey now takes us to the dense, tropical lowlands of present-day northern Guatemala, where researchers have unearthed nearly 1,000 previously unknown Maya settlements. Using LiDAR technology, light detection, and ranging, they scan the region from above, penetrating the thick jungle canopy with laser beams. The area under investigation is immense, with the newly discovered structures and buildings sprawling across roughly 650 square miles. These sites were occupied thousands of years ago, and the density of the structures suggests a thriving, interconnected society. Researchers identified at least 417 ancient villages, towns, and cities, complete with defined boundaries. These settlements formed part of a sophisticated state, resembling a kingdom in its organization. Within these settlements, archaeologists have found sports courts, civic centers, ceremonial platforms, religious sites, and residential areas. There were also colossal palaces, elevated platforms, intricate dam systems, towering pyramids, and extensive causeways crisscrossing the landscape. The inhabitants even constructed reservoirs to collect and store precious water. The sheer scale of these projects indicates a highly organized society capable of mobilizing thousands of specialized laborers and skilled artisans. They needed lime producers, master architects, mortar specialists, quarry workers, and legal experts to establish and maintain this complex community. The LiDAR technology used to explore this region is truly remarkable. It can penetrate even the densest vegetation, allowing researchers to map the terrain and identify hidden structures with incredible precision. The laser beams bounce off various surfaces, and the time it takes for the pulses to return to the receiver is used to create a detailed, digitally reconstructed map. This technology also revealed evidence of extensive lowland agricultural areas. But why did the Maya choose to settle in this particular region? It was a challenging environment, and building such a vast kingdom in a tropical rainforest climate was no easy feat. Historically, ancient civilizations often thrived in drier climates, where they could construct water management systems that formed the foundation of their societies. Think of Teotihuacan in Highland, Mexico, for example. While the Maya did have some navigable rivers for transportation and trade, the rainforest environment also offered unique advantages. The Maya harnessed the abundant natural resources of the region. Imagine, if you will, a journey back in time, not to the age of dinosaurs, but to a more recent, yet still distant, past. We find ourselves in Mesoamerica, witnessing the rise of the magnificent Mayan civilization. These resourceful people skillfully utilized the natural resources around them. They quarried limestone, their primary building material, and extracted salt. The dark volcanic glass known as obsidian was also crucial, providing the raw material for a variety of tools. The Maya were masters of adaptation. They sought out and cultivated dry land amidst the seasonal swamps, or bajos. These lowlands, though prone to flooding, possessed incredibly fertile soil, perfect for agriculture. Mayan settlements were meticulously designed to withstand the cyclical challenges of both rainy seasons and periods of drought. Their architecture itself stands as a testament to their preparedness. The grandeur of their structures also hints at a centralized, kingdom-like societal structure. This unity allowed them to endure and thrive through adversity. The Mayan Empire flourished, reaching its zenith around the 6th century CE. Their achievements were remarkable, excelling in pottery, agriculture, a complex system of writing, advanced mathematics, and sophisticated calendar systems. Indeed, it was the Maya who gifted the world with intricate calendars, like the calendar round, based on a 365-day cycle. While some mistakenly believed the Mayan calendar predicted the end of the world on December 21, 2012, this was simply the conclusion of a major cycle, their long count calendar, spanning an immense 5,225 years. The legacy of the Maya is etched in stone. They left behind breathtaking architecture and symbolic artwork that continues to inspire awe. Yet by 900 CE, many of their grand stone cities were abandoned. The reasons behind this collapse remain shrouded in mystery, fueling numerous theories. Some speculate that by the 9th century, The Maya had exhausted the resources of their environment, struggling to sustain a large population. Others suggest internal strife, city-states in conflict, fracturing the traditional power structures. A prolonged period of drought could also have been a contributing factor. Perhaps it was a combination of all these hardships that led to their decline. Remarkably, one Mayan city, nestled on an island, persevered until the 17th century, long after its sister cities had fallen into ruin. Today, travelers might recognize it by its modern name, Flores. Scientists estimate that around 2,000 people inhabited this resilient city. The earliest Maya were primarily farmers, cultivating essential crops like beans, squash, corn, and cassava. Their mastery of agriculture provided them with a diverse palette of ingredients, giving rise to a rich culinary tradition. Hundreds of unique recipes emerged, many of which survive in modern Mexican cooking. Papayas, cacao, avocados, squash, pineapples, chili peppers, and beans are just a few examples of their enduring legacy. While the Maya initially practiced a form of slash-and-burn agriculture, evidence suggests the later adoption of more sophisticated methods such as terracing and irrigation. They were also passionate about chocolate, lovers of the dark delight more than 3,500 years ago. The Olmec civilization of Mesoamerica likely first discovered the potential of the cacao bean, but it was the Maya who elevated chocolate making to an art form. Archaeological discoveries of cacao residue in Mayan pottery confirm their deep connection to this treasured food. Their chocolate was a complex concoction mixed with honey, water, cornmeal, and fiery chili peppers. The result? A spicy, savory hot chocolate beverage still enjoyed today in Mexico and Central America. Beyond their culinary achievements, the Maya possessed a written language, meticulously recorded in their books. Their paper was crafted from the bark of fig trees, carefully processed into strips. These strips were then bound to create extensive libraries. Books crafted from this material are known as codices, and 4 precious examples have survived to this day. Sadly, countless others were lost to the ravages of time, destroyed by the humid climate or by human actions. The classic Maya were prolific builders, erecting magnificent palaces and temples in the form of stepped pyramids. These structures were adorned with intricate inscriptions and reliefs, solidifying their reputation as master artists of Mesoamerica. The Maya held unique aesthetic ideals. A flattened forehead was considered a mark of beauty and high status. They were deeply invested in personal appearance, employing makeup and elaborate clothing to enhance their looks. Furthermore, the Maya were pioneers in the art of tattooing, ranking among the first civilizations to practice this form of body art. Their culture was rich and vibrant, permeated with a belief in the supernatural. Like many cultures around the world, they believed in mythical creatures, known by different names across the globe. The Mayan name for these beings was Aluxes. They crafted sculptures of aluxes from wood or clay, carefully placing them in hidden locations within the forests. The Maya believed these sculptures. Imagine ancient Mayan priests, adorned with feathers and jade, entering the mouth of a sacred cave. Here, in the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula, they believed lay a portal to Xibalba, the underworld. As darkness enveloped them, flickering torchlight danced across the cave walls, illuminating ancient rituals meant to appease the gods. These weren't just holes in the ground. These caves, scattered throughout the jungles of Quintana Roo and the Yucatan near Cancun, were seen as vital links to the spirit world. Even today, remnants of their civilization remain, artifacts discovered by researchers, silent testaments to their beliefs. The Maya were pioneers, masters of innovation. They were among the first to harness the power of rubber latex. Picture Mayan athletes, centuries ago, bouncing rubber balls crafted from this remarkable material. These weren't mere toys. They were essential components of complex and ritualistic games. Through ingenious processes, they combined natural latex with other natural substances, creating the bouncy spheres that fueled their sporting competitions. Beyond sports, they also engineered sophisticated steam baths. These weren't simple pools. They were stone structures, precursors to modern bathtubs, designed for ritual cleansing and relaxation. Furthermore, researchers have unearthed heated stone structures, the ancient equivalent of sweat lodges in El Salvador and Guatemala, preserved beneath layers of volcanic ash. These discoveries offer glimpses into the advanced engineering and cultural practices of the Mayan civilization. Now, let's journey to a place unlike any other on Earth, a realm of perpetual darkness and unique life. Deep beneath the Earth's surface lies a cave, isolated from the outside world for an astonishing 5.5 million years. This isn't just a cave, it's a time capsule, a living laboratory where evolution has taken a unique turn. Within the Moval Cave in Romania, a few miles west of the Black Sea, an ecosystem thrives in conditions that would be lethal to most life forms. Discovered in 1986, this cave is now strictly protected, accessible only with special permission. Imagine navigating narrow limestone tunnels and vertical shafts, the natural guardians of the central caverns. Claustrophobia would be a formidable foe here. The air within the cave's depths is a toxic cocktail. Oxygen levels are half of what they are on the surface, replaced by high concentrations of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. It's a suffocating atmosphere, perpetually pitch black. Yet, against all odds, life flourishes. A 1996 study identified 48 distinct species within the cave, 33 of which were found nowhere else on the planet. These creatures are adapted to their extreme environment. They are often small, with elongated limbs and antennae that help them navigate the darkness. Sight is useless here. They are blind, lacking pigmentation, their bodies pale and ghostly. In this lightless realm, beauty is irrelevant, survival is everything. Our journey continues, this time to a cave of a different kind, the Giant Crystal Cave, also known as the Cave of Crystals, in Mexico. Discovered in 2000 by miners, these aren't just crystals. They are colossal gypsum pillars, some of the largest ever found. Imagine two miners venturing into a newly drained cavern, their headlamps illuminating these breathtaking formations for the first time. These awe-inspiring crystals lie nearly 1,000 feet underground, anchored to the walls and floor of a scorching hot cave. Scientists estimate that they have been growing for 500,000 years. Some are so large that you could walk across them, traversing a landscape of shimmering white. Sadly, this natural wonder is currently inaccessible to the public. The Giant Crystal Cave is a dangerous place, a potential death trap. For millennia, it was filled with groundwater, heated by a magma chamber deep within the earth. As the water cooled slightly, but still remaining at a sweltering 136 degree, 58 degrees, it became saturated with calcium and sulfate. These elements combined to form gypsum, which then slowly crystallized, creating the towering pillars we see today. The constant submersion allowed the crystals to grow to their extraordinary size, a testament to the power of time and geological forces. Now let's turn our attention to the ocean, where scientists have discovered phenomena that mirror the behavior of black holes in space. A black hole possesses a gravitational pull so immense that nothing, not even light, can escape its grasp. But in the southern Atlantic Ocean, ocean eddies, massive whirlpools, exhibit similar characteristics, albeit with water instead of light. These aren't just small currents, they are swirling behemoths, spinning against the main current, displacing billions of tons of water. Many are larger than entire cities. These whirlpools are so powerful that anything caught within their grasp is trapped, swirling endlessly in their watery embrace. Imagine drifting on the open ocean, a vast, seemingly endless expanse of blue. But beware, for hidden within this tranquil facade lurk monstrous whirlpools, nature's aquatic black holes. These aren't your average bathtub drains. These are colossal, swirling behemoths, so immense that escape can be nigh impossible. The truly terrifying aspect? You might unknowingly sail directly into one before realizing the peril. It's only when scientists began utilizing satellites to observe ocean currents that the true scale of these vortices became apparent. They discovered the boundaries of these swirling eddies, and, remarkably, mathematical models revealed their similarity to the enigmatic black holes scattered across the cosmos. These massive eddies are fortified by incredibly tight barriers, where the water itself moves in closed loops, an inescapable prison. Even a single drop of water struggles to break free from the confines of these swirling currents. Thus, these tight ocean vortices function as gigantic natural containers. The water trapped within can exhibit properties drastically different from the surrounding ocean. We're not just talking about temperature variations. The salinity levels inside and outside the whirlpool can also diverge significantly. Now let's journey to a truly bizarre location, the Curonian Spit, a slender stretch of land separating the Baltic Sea from the Curonian Lagoon. Here, you'll find what locals call the dancing forest, a place where pine trees grow in shockingly distorted shapes. They twist and contort, spiraling and looping along the ground in defiance of nature's usual order. Numerous theories attempt to explain this strange phenomenon. Some whisper of clashing positive and negative energies converging at this very spot. More pragmatic minds suggest geological instability, citing the sandy soil's inability to support upright growth. The most widely accepted explanation points to the relentless winds sweeping in from the water, perpetually shaping the trees. Yet, even with these explanations, experts haven't reached a definitive conclusion. The mystery of the dancing forest endures. Next, prepare to be amazed by underwater crop circles. These intricate formations were first observed in 1995 near the coast of southern Japan. Local divers dubbed these 7-foot-wide structures mystery circles, and for nearly 16 years, their origin remained shrouded in enigma. Then, the culprit was finally unmasked, revealing a surprising truth: a male pufferfish. This dedicated artist spends over a week meticulously crafting each circle. Aesthetics are clearly paramount. The male pufferfish swims within the circle, diligently sculpting valleys in the sand with his fins. But his artistry doesn't end there. He also adorns the circles with carefully placed shells and coral fragments. This construction project isn't purely for show. As the male fish swims, he pushes sand towards the center of the circle, creating a mound that will eventually serve as a nest. Our journey now takes us to the Caribbean, just off the coast of Belize, where we find the Great Blue Hole, a colossal sinkhole. It spans approximately 1,000 feet in diameter and plunges to a depth of over 400 feet. Eons ago, this was a cave system, but rising sea levels eventually caused its roof to collapse. As you descend into the Great Blue Hole's crystalline waters, darkness descends rapidly. You'll encounter numerous stalactite-filled caves, but entering them is perilous. A labyrinth where one could easily become hopelessly lost. At a depth of around 50 feet, you'll notice a shimmering effect in the water, an invisible boundary separating the salty surface layer from the freshwater abyss below. Perhaps it's wise to turn back at this point, for who knows what lurks within the murky depths. An old Amazonian legend spoke of a river so hot that it boiled. For years, it was dismissed as mere folklore until Peruvian geoscientist Andres Russo questioned its possibility. Experts scoffed, pointing out that hot rivers exist only in volcanically active regions, and the area mentioned in the legend was devoid of volcanoes. But Russo refused to abandon his quest. In 2011, he finally located the legendary river. The water was indeed steaming hot, reaching a temperature of 186 degrees Fahrenheit. Scalding, though not quite boiling. What astounded Russo the most was the river's sheer size. While underwater hot springs can create small thermal pools, this river was 20 feet deep and flowed for almost 4 miles. It remains a unique phenomenon on our planet. Finally, let's turn our attention to the Sahara, the largest hot desert on Earth. A vast sea of sand covering an area exceeding the contiguous United States. But what lies hidden beneath those towering dunes? To answer that, we must journey back in time. Up until approximately 6,000 years ago, the Sahara was not a desert, but a grassland. During this period, humans were spreading agriculture across the planet. In the north of Africa. Imagine North Africa millions of years ago. Forget the endless dunes and scorching sun we associate with the Sahara today. Back then, it was a verdant paradise, a landscape dominated by the color green. Abundant rainfall nourished sprawling lakes, meandering rivers, and lush pastures. Towering forests stretched across the horizon. It was an entirely different world, a far cry from the barren expanse we know today. But the Earth is a restless planet, and climates are ever shifting. Slowly, relentlessly, the rains began to dwindle. The once fertile region grew increasingly parched, and the vibrant vegetation began to wither and disappear. The wind, an ever-present force, took over. With no plant roots to bind the soil, the wind eroded the fine sediment, carrying it away, grain by grain. Over thousands of years, this relentless process sculpted the landscape into the Sahara we recognize, an ocean of sand and rock stretching as far as the eye can see. Yet, the image of a sea of sand is somewhat misleading. In reality, sand constitutes only about a quarter of the Sahara's vast expanse. The iconic yellow dunes are just one facet of this complex environment. The desert also encompasses gravel plains, shimmering salt flats, and towering plateaus. This raises a fundamental question. Do we truly understand what defines a desert? For geologists, the scientists who study these terrains, the defining characteristic of a desert is simple: precipitation. If an area receives little to no rainfall, it qualifies as a desert, and the Sahara certainly fits this criterion. Its average annual rainfall is a mere 3 inches. Compare that to New York City, which receives nearly 45 inches of rain each year. When we consider precipitation, an interesting fact emerges. The sandy Sahara is only the third largest desert in the world. The first and second largest are Antarctica and the Arctic. These polar deserts dwarf the Sahara by millions of square miles. It may seem counterintuitive, but there's more than one type of desert. The Arctic and Antarctic are polar deserts, characterized by freezing temperatures and snow, while the Sahara is classified as a subtropical desert, known for its scorching heat. The difference in air temperature between these types of deserts is staggering. In the interior of Antarctica, temperatures can plummet to a bone-chilling 76 degrees Fahrenheit. In stark contrast, the highest temperature ever recorded in the Sahara reached a blistering 136 degrees Fahrenheit. But the Sahara holds a surprising secret: a cool side. At night, the temperature drops dramatically, often reaching levels comparable to the average yearly temperature in Denmark. This extreme temperature fluctuation makes choosing the right clothing a real challenge for anyone venturing into the Sahara. And what about the sand itself? How deep does it go? The depth of the sand varies considerably, ranging from approximately 70 to 140 feet. This might seem like a lot, but it's not as deep as you might imagine. If you were to place the Statue of Liberty on top of a tall dune, about half of it would still be visible above the sand. The Sahara's immense sand deposits were formed by aeolian processes, a term derived from the Greek god of the wind, Aeolus. Over countless millennia, the wind has sculpted and reshaped the Earth's surface. In arid regions with sparse vegetation, the wind's erosive power is amplified. This is precisely what happened in North Africa. Beneath the seemingly endless sand lies the bedrock and cracked clay of the Earth's crust. If you were to dig deep enough, you would find this same basic geological structure virtually anywhere on the planet, with one crucial difference. Elsewhere, a layer of soil typically covers the bedrock. This is not the case in the Sahara. Due to the arid climate and the scarcity of vegetation, the sand directly blankets the ground below. Over thousands of years, the shifting sands of the Sahara have entombed a wealth of fascinating artifacts. Among these are petrified tree trunks, ancient trees transformed into stone. These remarkable fossils offer a glimpse into the Sahara's green past, a time when the region was a lush forest. In some locations, these fossilized trees stand as tall as 65 feet. The wood is so remarkably preserved that you can still discern the intricate textures and knots. Paleontologists have even discovered fossilized pine cones, silent witnesses to a bygone era. In 1992, scientists made an intriguing discovery in the eastern Sahara: fragments of a mysterious glass. These canary yellow shards were scattered across an area spanning hundreds of miles. They were not the creation of an ancient civilization, although the ancient Egyptians prized them and used them to craft jewelry. The breastplate of King Tutankhamun, for example, featured a stunning scarab beetle centerpiece carved from this unique desert glass. For many years, The origin of these enigmatic glass fragments remained a puzzle. Eventually, scientists determined that the glass was approximately 29 million years old and of impact origin. This means it was formed by the intense heat and pressure generated when a meteorite slammed into the Earth's surface. Scientists estimate that the temperature required to melt the minerals into this glass was close to a staggering 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So, in addition to the regular fine-grained sand, the Sahara also holds deposits of melted sand, a testament to the cataclysmic forces that have shaped our planet. But the desert holds even more surprising secrets. Shark teeth are a common find in Morocco, located in the western part of the Sahara. What are the fossilized teeth of these marine predators doing in the heart of the desert? The answer lies in the Sahara's distant past. Millions of years ago, this region looked dramatically different. A vast sea, known as the Trans-Saharan Seaway, bisected what is now the desert, stretching across present-day Algeria and Mali. This ancient seaway was approximately 165 feet deep, deep enough to support a diverse array of aquatic life. Giant catfish, enormous sea snakes, and various species of sharks thrived in these waters. Imagine the Sahara Desert stretching endlessly under the scorching sun. But beneath those shifting sands, secrets lie buried. In the 1980s, paleontologists unearthed a remarkable find in Mali, a fossilized turtle shell, a relic from a time when this desert may have been a very different place. But that's not all the desert has been hiding. Let's journey back in time to around 100 AD. Here, in what is now Algeria, the Roman Emperor Trajan established a strategic outpost, the city of Timgad. For centuries, it thrived, a testament to Roman engineering and civilization. But around 700 AD, its inhabitants abandoned it, for reasons still debated by historians. The unforgiving sands of the Sahara gradually swallowed Timgad, concealing it for nearly a millennium. Then, in the 1700s, a Scottish explorer, driven by curiosity and ambition, began to unearth this lost city. His team first revealed a magnificent sandstone triumphal arch soaring 40 feet into the air, echoing the grandeur of similar structures in Rome and Paris. Soon, an amphitheater emerged from the sand, followed by remarkably preserved statues of Roman emperors. The scope of the Scotsman's discovery was so astounding that it was initially met with disbelief. It wasn't until the 1950s that archaeologists fully excavated Timgad, revealing a site as vast as 10 polo fields. The ruins showcase the Romans' mastery of urban planning. Streets intersect at perfect right angles, forming an orthogonal grid, a layout mirrored in modern cities like New York. Historians estimate that during its peak, Timgad was home to 10,000 people, a melting pot of Romans and people of African descent. Today, more than 2.5 million people live in and around the Sahara, spread across 11 countries. But their living space is shrinking. The desert is expanding, now 10% larger than it was a century ago. This isn't a simple case of sand pouring outwards. Instead, the ecosystems on the desert's fringes are transforming. Wind erodes the soil, vegetation dwindles, creating the perfect conditions for desertification. These changes are most evident in the Sahel, a region bordering the Sahara to the south. In response, African nations have united in an ambitious project, the Great Green Wall. The goal is to halt desertification and hold back the Sahara's advance by planting a vast wall of trees stretching across the continent from west to east. This proposed forest won't just be long, but wide, creating a significant barrier against the encroaching desert. The Sahara and the Sahel share a long history. Since ancient times, camel caravans have traversed this harsh landscape, linking the Mediterranean coast in the north with the savannas in the south. The golden age of this trade began in the 9th century. These perilous journeys took months, covering routes 2.5 times longer than the Grand Canyon. Even today, explorers unearth remnants of these ancient caravans, hidden beneath the sands. This summer's heat has been relentless, making us feel like roasted marshmallows on a grill. While the world is undoubtedly getting hotter, some regions have always battled extreme temperatures. It turns out that people in ancient times also devised ingenious methods to stay cool, some of which are still functioning 3,000 years later. Let's explore how people throughout history have survived the heat. Speaking of ice cubes, did you know that the ancient Persians developed sophisticated ice storage systems in their deserts? They ingeniously prevented their food from becoming a melted mess. These resourceful Persians discovered a physics trick that allowed them to create ice even in the scorching desert. They called these structures yakchal, meaning ice pit. These weren't ordinary coolers, but rather secret underground refrigerators. From the outside, they resembled dome-shaped mud brick structures. Inside, however, was a different world. These yakchals used an evaporative cooling system that worked like magic. At night, when the desert cooled, Persians used radiative cooling. They created trenches to hold thin layers of water. The water froze, defying the desert heat. These desert dwellers were so clever they could freeze water in the desert. Below ground were square storage areas. The Persians collected the melting ice water from these cooled trenches and froze it again, maximizing the desert's natural chill. To further enhance the cooling, they built walls to shade the storage areas from the intense midday sun. And that's not all. They used ingenious wind-catching structures called badgirs to funnel breezes directly into the ice pits. Fresh air plus ice equals a cool breeze, a winning combination. They even had let's journey back in time to witness the ingenuity of ancient civilizations. Imagine parched lands where survival depended on mastering the elements. Here, in ancient Persia, a network of intricate water channels known as qanats snaked their way from distant mountains, delivering precious water to ice pits and homes. Picture these ancient aqueducts, lifelines in a harsh environment. Over time, the yakjals, these ancient ice houses, faded into the mists of history, replaced by modern technology. But take heart. Dedicated individuals in Iran are now painstakingly restoring these marvels, breathing life back into these ancient cooling systems. Should your travels ever lead you to these desert landscapes, be sure to witness firsthand the brilliance of the ancient Persians. Now, let's turn our attention to wind catchers. Architectural wonders that did far more than just create ice. These ingenious structures functioned as complete cooling systems. In ancient times, from Persia, now Iran, to Egypt, and across the Middle East, these tower-like structures were all the rage. Imagine these towers adorned with openings strategically placed to capture the slightest breeze. These openings acted like magical portals, channeling refreshing gusts into homes and living spaces, natural air conditioners. The breeze would gracefully descend, cooling the very ground beneath the building as it flowed through. The secret lay in the details: the tower's height, the number of sides, the size and placement of the openings, and the design of the interior blades. Each element played a crucial role in the wind tower's efficiency. Thanks to these ingenious devices, ancient societies could enjoy comfortable indoor temperatures without breaking a sweat. Imagine feeling the gentle breeze caressing your skin, keeping you cool and refreshed. The Persians are often credited with inventing these remarkable wind catchers, but let's not forget Egypt. Traces of similar structures have been found there, dating back to 3300 BCE. While the invention may have originated in ancient Egypt, Yazd in Iran boasts the largest concentration of wind catchers. Without these ancient air conditioning systems, life in this region, with its scarce rainfall, would have been virtually impossible. Now, let's examine those perforated double-skinned exteriors. Picture a building adorned with an ornate perforated screen, like a stylish makeover designed to keep things cool. This ingenious technique first diffuses harsh sunlight, preventing blinding rays from penetrating the interior. The screen also provides shade, shielding the building from the intense heat. Think of it as a natural sun hat for your home. By positioning this screen approximately 4 feet from the outer walls, a breezy corridor is created, promoting fresh air circulation. And of course, these structures add a touch of elegance to the building's facade. These structures are sometimes called jali. Consider Jaipur, India, where average daytime temperatures soar to 100 degrees. Here, jalis are lifesavers. Jalis come in various forms, crafted from cement, earth, or wood. They are deeply embedded in Indian architecture, a cultural symbol found in iconic historical landmarks such as the majestic Taj Mahal and the Grand Red Fort in Delhi. But Jalas are not relics of the past. They continue to thrive in modern architecture, their charm inspiring artists and designers worldwide. Imagine a building's exterior adorned with a cross-section, revealing a larger opening on the outside and a smaller one on the inside. This is where the Venturi effect takes center stage, showcasing the power of physics. As air rushes through the narrowing passage, its speed increases, creating a pressure difference between the inside and outside of the building. Air moving at higher speeds becomes compressed, and when released, it cools down, providing natural relief from the heat. Now, let's consider the mashrabiyah, a wooden lattice or screen used in the Middle East and North Africa. These decorative wonders resemble window blinds, but their functionality extends far beyond mere aesthetics. They provide privacy, shade from the sun, and allow fresh air and light to filter through. Some designs incorporate clay pots filled with water, sand, or damp straw. As hot air flows through the openings, it passes over the porous surface of the pot. The moisture inside evaporates, cooling the air in the process, a perfect, low-cost technique for hot, arid climates. It's eco-friendly, requiring no electricity. Fast forward to the present day. Designers are creatively blending traditional wisdom with modern technology. The Al Bahar Towers in Abu Dhabi exemplify this fusion. Picture over 2,000 hexagonal panels that move in response to the sun's position, providing continuous shade and optimizing natural light. Imagine stepping back in time, not just decades or centuries, but tens of thousands of years. Forget central air conditioning, because we're diving into the ingenious ways ancient civilizations battled the heat. Long before our modern gadgets, they were masters of natural cooling. One clever trick employed in ancient Egypt was using light colors to deflect the sun's intense rays. Think of it as nature's sunscreen for buildings. Light shades reflected the sun's energy, providing a welcome respite inside. Evaporation was another secret weapon. Simple, yet incredibly effective. The ancient Egyptians also hung wet mats and curtains in doorways. As the scorching air passed through these dampened barriers, it cooled, offering a refreshing escape from the relentless sun. Ancient architects were true pioneers in maximizing airflow. They understood the principles of cross-ventilation, allowing hot air to escape while inviting cooler breezes to circulate. Now, let's journey to ancient Rome, where bathhouses or thermae were the social hubs of the day. These weren't just places to get clean. They were community centers where people gathered to discuss politics, engage in sports, and of course enjoy a relaxing soak. The frigidarium, or cold room, was a vital part of the Roman bath experience. After a steamy session in the caldarium, hot room, Romans would plunge into this icy pool for a refreshing jolt. And in regions like Cappadocia, Turkey, people sought refuge underground. They carved cozy dwellings into the volcanic rock, tapping into the Earth's natural cooling properties. The key takeaway is this: by blending local traditions with smart design, architects and designers can create incredible solutions. Speaking of heat, California's Death Valley holds the record for the highest officially registered temperature, a scorching 134 degrees recorded in 1913. In Africa, Kabylie, Tunisia, reached a blistering 131 degrees in 1931. Europe's highest recorded temperature was almost 120 degrees in Sicily in August 2021. And in 2022, the UK experienced its hottest summer on record. A comfortable abode with a gorgeous view of the Mediterranean Sea will serve as a perfect rain shelter. This might have been a real estate ad pitched to Neanderthals some 100,000 years ago. Welcome to the fascinating world of caves as potential dwellings. Of course, back then, real estate and advertising were still a distant dream, and while Neanderthals didn't construct houses, they often found shelter in caves. One particular cave bears a striking resemblance to a residential building. It's nestled within a towering limestone cave called the Rock of Gibraltar. Had Neanderthals possessed an economy, the caves within this rock would have fetched a high price. Navigators stumbled upon this site in 1907, spotting a large opening within the fortified rock. Over the years, scientists have meticulously studied this location, uncovering traces of Neanderthal life. They unearthed ancient tools and the bones of long-extinct animals. But the most intriguing discovery was the presence of four distinct caves within the rock, resembling a residential complex. Imagine Neanderthals living side by side, collaborating on hunts and fishing expeditions. They even adorned themselves with feather decorations and created abstract paintings on the cave walls. Picture our ancient ancestors dwelling in these caves 100,000 years ago. Today, scientists meticulously examine the primeval past of Neanderthals in these very spaces. In late 2021, archaeologists discovered a hidden passage within one of the caves, leading to an unexplored tunnel. Crawling through this opening, they unveiled a new chamber beneath the cave's roof. This area had been sealed off from the outside world for over 40,000 years and appeared to have been one of the most desirable apartments in the entire mountain complex. It boasted high ceilings adorned with ancient stalactites. Ruined stone formations divided the space into separate rooms. Scientists also found the remains of ancient animals and markings on the walls. While Neanderthals may not have resided here permanently, they likely visited this location. Archaeologists discovered the shell of a sea snail, a dog whelk, Nucella lapillus. It's a mystery why a Neanderthal brought it there, but the primary inhabitants of this space were hyenas. These caves reveal that Neanderthals were more akin to humans than to primates. They possessed a way of life and even certain customs. Much work remains, and scientists hope to uncover more chambers within this remarkable rock. Meanwhile, in 2003, archaeologists unearthed another early dwelling on the island of Flores in Indonesia. Amidst the lush jungle, they found a cave containing ancient tools. Initially, it was believed that human ancestors had lived there. However, scientists soon discovered an unusual skeleton of an adult. Detailed analysis revealed that the skeleton belonged to a 30-year-old woman, standing only 3 1/2 feet tall, just above the waist of an average adult. The woman weighed about as much as a small dog. The skeleton didn't match Neanderthals or Australopithecines. It represented a new, unknown species, which scientists named Homo floresiensis, or simply the Hobbit. The cave also contained the remains of unusual ancient animals, including an elephant the size of a cow, large storks, and giant rats. Archaeologists have determined that Homo floresiensis. Deep within the earth, there are places that defy imagination. But let's not picture cozy hobbit holes. The true masters of some of these lost worlds were far more unsettling. Imagine rats the size of house cats, perhaps locked in eternal combat with those diminutive humanoids. Intriguingly, analysis reveals that Homo floresiensis, the hobbit people, weren't directly in our ancestral line. They represent a separate, unique evolutionary branch. In fact, their skeletal structure bears a greater resemblance to that of ancient apes than modern Homo sapiens. Now, journey with us to the dense jungles of Vietnam, circa 2009. Here, archaeologists stumbled upon Son Doong, a colossal cave system, the largest on our planet. Picture yourself stepping inside. A shout echoes for what seems like an eternity, swallowed by the immensity. At its highest points, this cavern reaches half the height of the iconic Empire State Building. Its total area? Larger than an entire city block in the heart of New York. Son Doong isn't a solitary wonder. It's part of a network, one of 3 major caves woven into the Vietnamese jungle. Intricate mazes connect them, creating a subterranean world teeming with life. Within these hidden chambers, unique plant species and trees flourish, isolated from the sunlit world above, a true underground jungle. In places, the ceilings have collapsed, allowing shafts of sunlight to pierce the darkness, illuminating ancient stalactites and stalagmites. Some of these limestone formations are over 450 million years old, predating even the reign of the dinosaurs. Rivers carved their way through the cave system, fed by rainwater cascading through openings in the ceiling. These fast-flowing streams resemble natural water slides, disappearing into unexplored labyrinths. To date, scientists have only scratched the surface of this vast subterranean realm. Our journey takes us next to New Zealand, to another extraordinary cave. Here, hundreds of thousands of glowworms create a spectacle unlike any other. Each tiny creature emits a soft, blue light, collectively illuminating the cave in an ethereal glow. It feels like stepping onto another planet, a breathtaking vista of bioluminescence. But prolonged stays are forbidden. Sensitive instruments constantly monitor carbon dioxide levels, crucial for the glowworm's survival. These insects are delicate, vulnerable to environmental changes. Too many visitors, or even a slightly extended visit, can deplete the oxygen, forcing park rangers to usher people out, ensuring the survival of these living lights. We've explored beauty, but now, let's descend into something far more unsettling. We travel to the desolate Al-Marah Governorate in Yemen. Our destination isn't a cave in the traditional sense, but a gaping black hole in the desert floor. Imagine a void the size of a basketball court, its darkness promising something sinister. It's not merely the size that inspires fear, but what emanates from within. A putrid stench like rotten eggs constantly rises from the abyss, and sometimes, unsettling, unidentifiable sounds echo from its depths. The blackness of this Yemeni sinkhole seems to absorb all light. Even powerful flashlights offer no glimpse into its depths. Helicopters have flown overhead, equipped with drones and high-resolution cameras. But all they capture is an impenetrable darkness, a stain upon the golden sands. Locals avoid the area, believing it to be a gateway to another dimension, a prison for malevolent entities. The Well of Barhout, as it's known, remains one of the least understood and most mysterious natural phenomena on Earth. How did it form? How old is it? Where does it lead? Scientists grapple with these questions. One theory suggests that geological surveys, searching for mineral deposits, weaken the Earth's crust, leading to the collapse. But this remains unproven. Now picture a place where sunlight hasn't penetrated for over 5 million years. Oxygen is scarce. The air is cold and damp. Yet life persists, not just microbes and bacteria, but larger, more complex organisms. The conditions within this cave are so distinct that it's akin to discovering an alien world here on Earth. This is Moval Cave, located in southeastern Romania, near the Black Sea. The entrance is unassuming, a small hole leading to a dark tunnel that plunges deep underground. Hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide levels are dangerously high. The air contains barely half the oxygen found on the surface. Humans require oxygen masks to survive, but the cave's unique inhabitants thrive. 48 species of living organisms call Moval Cave home, 33 of which are entirely new to science. Here, you'll find bizarre insects, ghostly white snails and spiders, millipedes adorned with enormous whiskers, transparent shrimp, and unique species of leeches. Their survival depends on chemosynthetic bacteria. These microscopic autotrophs consume carbon dioxide and release organic compounds, forming the base of the food chain. The bacteria are consumed by other, larger organisms, creating a complete ecosystem in perpetual darkness. Imagine stepping back in time to an era dominated by one of history's most fascinating figures, Cleopatra. Our story begins after the death of her father, Ptolemy XIV. The throne of Egypt was then seemingly passed to both Ptolemy XIII and Cleopatra. But Cleopatra, barely 18, was allegedly wed to her 10-year-old brother. Such were the customs of ancient royalty, though concrete evidence remains elusive. This sibling partnership, however, was short-lived. Young Ptolemy, hungry for absolute power, sought to cast Cleopatra aside. Forced into exile, Cleopatra didn't wallow in despair. Instead, she rallied an army, preparing to reclaim her birthright. At just 21, she found herself in the Sinai Desert, leading troops and plotting her return to power. By this time, Cleopatra had already forged a potent political, and perhaps more than political, alliance with Julius Caesar. In June of 47 BC, she bore him a son, Ptolemy Caesar, better known as Caesarion, widely believed to be Caesar's offspring. Yet, this didn't deter her from adhering to Egyptian royal traditions. She took a second husband, her other brother Ptolemy XIII. Despite her ongoing affair with Caesar, Cleopatra married yet another sibling because maintaining the throne within the family was paramount. Marriage aside, Cleopatra's connection with Caesar remained steadfast. She even journeyed to Rome with Ptolemy XIII for a state visit. However, instead of fulfilling the role of a dutiful queen, she resided in Caesar's private villa along the Tiber River. The assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BC on the Ides of March destabilized Cleopatra's political position. Compounding her troubles, her brother-husband, Ptolemy XIII, died soon after, with some suspecting Cleopatra's involvement, leaving her as the sole ruler of Egypt. Meanwhile, in Rome, Mark Antony ascended to power as Caesar's apparent successor. Eager to assess the Queen of Egypt, he summoned Cleopatra. Her arrival was nothing short of spectacular. She sailed into the city on a lavish barge, adorned as a deity, making an unforgettable entrance. Antony was instantly captivated, so much so that he abandoned his third wife in Rome and followed Cleopatra to Alexandria, where their relationship blossomed into a full-blown royal romance. Together, they had 3 children. Together, they waged war against Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, in a struggle for control of the Roman Empire. The last glimpse of the queen shows her within her mausoleum, adorned in full royal regalia, a diadem upon her head, reclining on what Plutarch described as a golden couch. Following Antony and Cleopatra's defeat at Actium, Octavian's forces advanced into Alexandria. Cleopatra, seemingly aware that her end was near, confined herself within her mausoleum, surrounded by gold, silver, pearls, and priceless artworks. Treasures she vowed to burn rather than surrender to the Romans. Antony, unwilling to be captured alive, turned his sword upon himself. But before succumbing to his wounds, he was carried to Cleopatra's side. She cradled him as he breathed his last in her arms. Just over a week later, Cleopatra made her own fateful decision. Rather than endure the humiliation of being Octavian's prisoner, she chose to end her own life. Legend attributes her death to the bite of a deadly asp, though historical accounts remain ambiguous. Cleopatra was only 39 years old. Now, let's turn our attention to more recent discoveries. Scientists have unearthed ancient artifacts near King Tutankhamun's tomb. It appears his exclusive final resting place was situated near what resembles a public graveyard, containing around a dozen wooden coffins dating back approximately 3,600 years. Perhaps I've exaggerated slightly. The 11 tombs weren't precisely adjacent to King Tut's, but they were nearby, in the same city of Luxor. New findings in Egyptian tombs can help us piece together what life was like in ancient Egypt. And guess what? Ancient Egyptians seem to have been remarkably like us, modern humans. It seems that women have always loved jewelry. Archaeologists recovered a beautifully crafted necklace featuring 30 amethyst beads, 2 agate beads, and a hippo head amulet. One can imagine it was all the rage back then. Researchers also discovered 2 copper mirrors. One had a handle shaped like a lotus flower, while the other was decorated with an image of Hathor, the ancient Egyptian deity of the sky, women, fertility, and love. These recent excavations near Tutankhamun's burial site led to another jaw-dropping revelation. For the first time in thousands of years, fragments of Queen Hatshepsut's Valley Temple were uncovered. This fearless woman is considered the second female pharaoh who ruled with both courage and wisdom, leaving a legacy as solid as the stones themselves. And those smaller creatures, in turn, become meals for larger predators. Ultimately, every living thing plays a role in the food chain. Deep within this hidden cave, shielded from the outside world, evolution has sculpted a unique and self-contained ecosystem. Now, let's journey back 1,000 years, to the heart of North America, near what we now know as St. Louis, Missouri. Here, a remarkable city flourished, Cahokia. This was no ordinary settlement, but the largest and most influential urban center of the Mississippian culture, built by Native Americans. At its zenith, around 1150 AD, Cahokia teemed with a population estimated at 30,000 souls, a number exceeding even that of Paris at the time. Yet Cahokia possessed a peculiar characteristic that set it apart from other major cities. It lacked a prominent marketplace. While trade typically formed the economic lifeblood of urban centers, Cahokia's significance lay elsewhere. Archaeologists have discovered that Cahokia was a hub of culture, community, and celebration. The inhabitants were renowned for hosting elaborate parties that stretched on for days. The city's most imposing feature was its sprawling 50-acre plaza, encircled by monumental earthen pyramids. Imagine this vast space teeming with over 10,000 people, all gathered for joyous festivities. Picture them dancing, sharing drinks made from local plants, feasting on venison, and wagering on sporting contests. These events were spectacles of vibrant energy. Cahokians adorned themselves in elaborate costumes, styled their hair in striking ways, and decorated their bodies with intricate tattoos. Athletes engaged in a game known as chunky, hurling spears at a rolling stone disc, vying to land their spears closest to the mark. The cheers of the crowd reverberated through the air as performers showcased their skills. These celebrations were so extravagant that they left a lasting imprint on the archaeological record. In the aftermath of these grand parties, the Cahokians meticulously cleaned up, disposing of food scraps and discarded items in designated pits. Archaeologists have unearthed these refuse pits, discovering them to be treasure troves of food remnants and pottery shards. One pit alone contained the remains of over 2,000 deer, evidence of a single massive feast. They also found traces of yaupon holly, a caffeinated plant traded from hundreds of miles away. This discovery underscores the immense effort and meticulous planning that the Cahokians invested in their celebrations. Could you imagine living in a city like this? Beyond the revelry and entertainment, Cahokia possessed a deeply complex spiritual dimension. The city was strategically constructed on a landscape that blended dry land with swampy areas. Many believe that this deliberate juxtaposition symbolized the connection between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. The people of Cahokia regarded their city as a bridge between these two realms. They erected earthen mounds, serving both as platforms for ceremonies and rituals and as structural support for buildings. These mounds rose majestically from the surrounding swampland, while residential areas were primarily situated on drier ground. Elevated pathways served to connect these disparate neighborhoods, forging a tangible link between life and death. Isn't it a poignant reminder that some ancient metropolises, rivaling modern cities in scale and sophistication, have simply vanished from the map? Cahokia's story drew to a quiet close around 1350 AD, when the city was gradually abandoned, likely due to environmental changes, severe weather patterns, and devastating floods. Despite its eventual abandonment, Cahokia's influence was profound and far-reaching. Some of its traditions, such as the game of chunky and the use of yaupon holly, have endured within Native American communities to this day. Today, Cahokia stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to the ingenuity and cultural richness of its inhabitants. And it's not the only megacity that time has claimed. Approximately 5,000 years ago, in the Indus Valley, civilizations were laying the foundations for some of the world's first cities. Mohenjo-Daro, an ancient city located in present-day Pakistan, stands as a prime example. This city was established around 2500 BC and quickly evolved into a thriving hub of the Indus Valley civilization. While significantly smaller than modern urban centers, Mohenjo-Daro was a considerable metropolis for its time, housing an estimated 40,000 residents. Evidence suggests that the inhabitants were remarkably disciplined and adhered to strict social norms. The city's planning and organization were truly remarkable, featuring a meticulous grid pattern with streets and prominent buildings aligned along a north-south axis, possibly to align with the movements of the sun and moon. Furthermore, Mohenjo-Daro boasted one of the most advanced water and waste management systems of its era. The city possessed approximately 700 wells, with nearly every house having its own private water source. Most homes also included private bathrooms equipped with drainage systems and even underground sewers, underscoring the inhabitants' commitment to cleanliness and sanitation. Interestingly, despite this high level of discipline and organization, there appears to have been no evidence of kings, queens, or even a centralized government. While local elites or elected officials may have wielded some authority, the city lacked a traditional monarchy or theocratic structure. Instead, the people of Mohenjo-Daro seemed to prioritize simplicity and order, effectively managing their affairs through standardized practices ranging from the production of tools and pottery to their trading systems. This emphasis on uniformity and self-governance distinguished Mohenjo-Daro from many other cities of its time. Mohenjo-Daro, a city lost to time, didn't boast the majestic palaces or towering temples of other ancient civilizations. Instead, its people congregated in public areas, the citadels. Imagine these bustling hubs, the heart of their society, where rituals unfolded, vital meetings were held, and precious grain was carefully stored. It appears this system worked seamlessly for them. Archaeologists have unearthed seals and weights, clear evidence of a well-regulated economy. They've also discovered exquisite artifacts, delicate ivory carvings, vibrant lapis lazuli, shimmering carnelian beads, and finely crafted gold jewelry. One of the most iconic finds is the Dancing Girl, a small bronze statue unearthed in 1926, a testament to their artistry. Mohenjo-Daro was far from impoverished, and its inhabitants were skilled builders. Cleanliness, it seems, was prioritized above ostentatious displays of wealth or power. This is exemplified by the Great Bath, one of the city's most celebrated structures. Picture a massive, watertight pool constructed with precisely baked bricks, elevated on a mound of earth. Almost a religious site, it was perhaps the closest thing they had to a temple. The city itself was built upon a series of artificial mounds, gradually rising over centuries as new homes and structures were added. But why did this thriving city ultimately fail? The answer remains shrouded in mystery. Intriguingly, many of the sculptures discovered by archaeologists appear to have been intentionally broken. Could this suggest that later inhabitants, perhaps invaders, deliberately destroyed them for reasons unknown? Some scientists speculate that the Indus River may have altered its course, disrupting agriculture and vital trade routes. However, there is no definitive evidence of a catastrophic flood or any other major event. It seems the Indus civilization simply faded away gradually over time. By 1900 BCE, the culture had shifted, leaving behind only whispers of its former glory. Now, let's journey to another ancient marvel. The city of Kos, located where the modern town of Kos now stands in Greece. Imagine arriving by sea. The first sight to greet you is the imposing grandeur of its agora. This expansive public square, constructed with stones of varying colors and arranged on terraces that ascend before you, was one of the largest in the ancient world. It would have undoubtedly left a lasting impression on anyone approaching the city. Kos boasts a rich history, dating back to around 2300 to 2200 BCE. In the distant past, local people from different parts of the island gathered to establish a new city in the northeast. Inhabited since the Bronze Age, it evolved into a crucial center of culture and commerce. Its location near a natural harbor was certainly no accident. The harbor, sheltered by two breakwaters, became the site of some of the most important religious sanctuaries, including those dedicated to Aphrodite and Hercules. But Kos was not merely beautiful, it was also brilliantly designed. The entire city was meticulously laid out in a grid pattern, with streets intersecting at perfect right angles, almost resembling a modern urban plan. This carefully planned layout made navigation incredibly easy, and the city blocks, or insulae, were spacious enough to accommodate several large houses. Kos remained largely unchanged until the 6th century CE. Over time, however, it gradually diminished in size, eventually becoming confined within the walls of what is now the Cha neighborhood. Our journey now takes us to Palmyra, an ancient city that arose around a lush oasis sometime around the 3rd millennium BCE. Originally known as Tadmor, the city prospered as a vital stop along the Silk Road, connecting the Near East with the vast expanse of Asia. It became a vibrant hub of trade and culture, complete with a bustling marketplace, impressive assembly buildings, and magnificent gates. In essence, this place was teeming with life. Throughout its history, the city passed through many hands, from the Byzantine Empire to Arab caliphates, which explains its remarkable architecture. Picture a fascinating blend of Greco-Roman, Persian, and Arabic influences, exemplified by the Temple of Bel, the Great Colonnade, and a Roman-style theater. But like so many others, Palmyra eventually decayed. Its importance waned, and by the early 1400s, it had been largely destroyed. Fortunately, its ruins remain, a testament to its former splendor. Today, they are recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a reminder of a glorious past. Imagine a lost temple slumbering beneath the sands for millennia. Now, picture it awakening, its secrets revealed, offering us a glimpse into a world of immense power, intricate plots, and profound spiritual dedication. Here, on the outskirts of Queen Hatshepsut's magnificent temple, archaeologists have unearthed over 1,000 exquisitely decorated stone blocks, each a testament to the glory of ancient Egypt. In this era of pharaohs, few women ascended to the throne, but Hatshepsut was one of them, a ruler of undeniable influence. Nearby, another tomb has been discovered, belonging to Juts, the overseer of Queen T's palace. These discoveries paint a vivid picture of royal life and the individuals who served at the heart of the Egyptian court. Queen Hatshepsut, it seems, possessed numerous tombs, each a carefully constructed haven for her soul's journey. These tombs, carved directly into the rock rather than built as freestanding pyramids, showcase a distinctive ancient approach to preserving the soul in the afterlife. It speaks to a belief system where the very earth offered protection. From this remarkable site, experts have recovered an array of fascinating artifacts: clay toys, mummy masks, winged scarabs, and protective amulets. These objects offer intimate insights into the lives and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. While countless more treasures likely existed, the passage of centuries has taken its toll. It's probable that looters, driven by greed, plundered these tombs long before archaeologists arrived, stealing invaluable relics. Yet even the looters left behind intriguing clues. Pottery used for offerings of bread and meat remains alongside archers' bows, connecting the tomb's occupants to the Egyptian military. These remnants hint at the daily rituals and societal structures of this ancient civilization. In ancient Egypt, the preservation of the soul was paramount, a concern far outweighing earthly matters. Especially if you find yourself wandering around Luxor, seeking long-lost secrets. Now, you're not afraid of King Tut's curse, are you? Let me recount the tales of those who scoffed at the warnings, but remember, take these stories with a grain of salt. For years, Egyptologists, especially those with a penchant for the paranormal, were convinced that a malevolent curse surrounded the archaeological discoveries in Tutankhamun's tomb. This belief arose from the mysterious and premature deaths of several excavators who unearthed the tomb in 1922. With no apparent explanation for their demise, it was easier to attribute it to supernatural forces, avoiding a more complex and uncomfortable truth. But what if it wasn't a curse at all? What if the real culprit was something far more tangible? Radiation. You might wonder where such radiation could originate. After all, while radioactivity was discovered in the 19th century, the ancient Egyptians, despite their architectural marvels, possessed no radium to illuminate Tut's tomb with an eerie glow. So, what's the real story? The answer may lie in toxic waste. For over 3 millennia, dangerous levels of radiation from uranium and hazardous waste may have lurked within the sealed tomb. Reportedly, the burial chamber of Tutankhamun's tomb exhibits such high radiation levels that anyone entering could easily succumb to fatal radiation sickness or develop an incurable condition. In fact, you might encounter similar levels of radioactivity if you neglect those moldy leftovers festering in your refrigerator for weeks. But this phenomenon isn't unique to Tutankhamun's tomb. The discovery of ancient Egyptian artifacts is often fraught with danger due to unusually high radiation levels in Old Kingdom tombs throughout Egypt. Geiger counters have detected radiation at sites near the Giza pyramids, and radon, a radioactive gas, has been found in several underground tombs in Saqqara. Intriguingly, experts believe that the builders of these ancient tombs were aware of the dangers, as evidenced by eerie warnings carved into the walls. One inscription ominously declares, "They that break this tomb shall meet their end by a malady that no doctor can diagnose." Other ominous phrases, such as "forbidden due to evil spirits," amplified the fear that supernatural curses haunted these ancient sites. These ominous signs have captivated archaeologists for generations. But the fear intensified a century ago with the mysterious death of Lord Carnarvon, who funded the excavation of King Tut's tomb in 1922. He explored the treasure-filled chambers alongside others who entered the tomb. Arthur Weigel, another British Egyptologist present at the tomb's opening and credited with popularizing the curse myth, died young in his early 50s in 1934. It's plausible that his death was linked to radiation exposure. In total, 6 of the 26 individuals present at the tomb's opening died within a decade from various causes, including asphyxia, stroke, heart failure, pneumonia, and even poisoning. A grim tally indeed. Yet one man, Howard Carter, who opened the tomb, seemingly evaded the infamous curse. His survival was seen by some as proof that the curse was a myth. After unearthing the treasures of Tutankhamun, the life of Howard Carter, the archaeologist who unearthed Tutankhamun's tomb, took an intriguing turn after his monumental discovery. He penned several volumes on the subject, then transitioned from excavation to procuring antiquities for various museums. Though he escaped death or severe injury, whispers circulated about a possible curse affecting his life in other ways. One persistent rumor connected him romantically to Evelyn, the daughter of Lord Carnarvon. Some claimed he was deeply in love with her, but she married another, leading him to remain single. Others alleged a clandestine affair during her time in Egypt, which ended abruptly with her father's death and her departure from the country. However, concrete evidence for these stories remained elusive. Evelyn was only 6 years old when they first met, and their friendship endured until his final days. She even attended his funeral, but firmly denied any romantic entanglement, stating their relationship wasn't that intimate. A year after the groundbreaking discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, Evelyn married Sir Brograve Beauchamp, a politician, and they had a daughter. That same year, Beauchamp, accompanied by his parents, toured the tomb under Carter's personal guidance. Carter himself never married, and aside from the rumors surrounding Evelyn, no other romantic connections were publicly known. While the curse adds a layer of intrigue to his biography, his tendency to maintain a certain distance in relationships was apparent long before the tomb was breached. It appeared Carter simply wasn't a people person. In 1939, after a period of failing health, Carter passed away at the age of 64, a typical lifespan in the UK during that era. Consequently, his death wasn't immediately attributed to an ancient curse. Upon his death, it was discovered that Carter possessed several artifacts from Tutankhamun's tomb in his London residence. These items were eventually returned to Egypt, an act that some interpreted as lifting the curse. One can only speculate whether he might have lived longer had he not kept those ancient souvenirs. The deaths surrounding the excavation, however, do seem unsettling. The curse theory likely gained traction due to a series of strange occurrences during that time. Lord Carnarvon suffered a mosquito bite that became severely infected, leading to blood poisoning. Coincidentally, around the time the tomb was opened, Cairo was plunged into darkness by a sudden and inexplicable power outage during a freak sandstorm. Back in England, the Earl's dog, Susie, escaped from Highclere Castle, Carnarvon's home, and began barking wildly at seemingly nothing. At least, that's how it appeared to the staff and family. Astoundingly, at the precise moment her owner's heart ceased beating, Susie howled and collapsed, lifeless. Perhaps radiation wasn't the primary culprit after all. Could it have been the ancient artifacts from King Tut's tomb that caused their demise? A chilling thought, indeed. Now let's journey back to November 1922. In the desolate, mountainous Egyptian desert, a young boy stumbled upon ancient steps carved into the rock. This seemingly insignificant find would soon become one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in history. The entrance to Tutankhamun's undisturbed tomb. Within its walls, archaeologists unearthed approximately 5,000 ancient objects. A breathtaking collection of jewelry, textiles, painted vases, and funerary masks. You've likely seen images of the iconic golden mask, a symbol instantly recognizable as a relic of ancient Egypt. More than a century has passed since that momentous discovery, and now humanity stands on the verge of another potentially groundbreaking find, the tomb of Cleopatra. This queen, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt, reigned from 51 to 30 BCE. Numerous ancient texts chronicle Cleopatra's life, her reign, and her captivating personality. Yet, the secrets surrounding her death and burial place have remained elusive. Until now, perhaps. Dr. Kathleen Martinez, an archaeologist, has dedicated decades to studying ancient records and temples in and around Alexandria. Her research has led her to believe that Cleopatra's tomb lies beneath the ancient city of Taposiris Magna, founded around 280 BCE. Taposiris Magna was a bustling city on Egypt's northern coast where tens of thousands of people engaged in trade and industry. It appears Dr. Martinez's hypothesis may be correct. She and her team of archaeologists have discovered a hidden underground tunnel near Alexandria, stretching approximately 0.8 miles. This tunnel was carved into the bedrock beneath the temple of Taposiris Magna. Further excavations have revealed numerous clues suggesting that Cleopatra's tomb lies within the tunnel's depths. It's even possible that she is interred there alongside the Roman commander Mark Antony. According to historical accounts, Cleopatra and Mark Antony were deeply in love and jointly opposed the Roman Senate, which declared Antony a traitor. The fact that Taposiris Magna has been subjected to natural disasters for millennia, earthquakes and floods that ravaged the city, could significantly complicate the ongoing excavations. Imagine, if you will, the sands of Egypt shifting once more, revealing secrets buried for millennia. Archaeologists are currently engaged in a delicate dance with time, excavating a potential tomb, its entrance possibly submerged beneath floodwaters that have infiltrated ancient tunnels. The hope is that this subterranean chamber has remained undisturbed, a time capsule safeguarding invaluable treasures and historical accounts of royal life during the final dynasty of ancient Egypt. The work ahead is arduous, potentially requiring underwater excavation in challenging muddy conditions. This demands considerable time and, of course, funding. Yet the archaeologists are driven by the tantalizing possibility of what lies within. While it remains premature to definitively state that this is Cleopatra's final resting place, compelling evidence has already emerged. Clay pots, scores of coins bearing the likenesses of Cleopatra and Alexander the Great, and even a bust believed to depict the Egyptian queen, have been unearthed within the tunnel complex. Cleopatra, even now, stands as one of Egypt's most iconic figures, rivaling the fame of pharaohs like Ramesses III and Tutankhamun. She has inspired countless films, paintings, and literary works, but what accounts for her enduring appeal? Perhaps it's the multifaceted nature of her persona. Cleopatra was, by all accounts, a brilliant and astute ruler who skillfully steered Egypt through turbulent times, transforming it into a prosperous power. Medieval Arabic texts suggest she possessed a keen intellect with knowledge spanning chemistry, mathematics, and philosophy. Some even propose that she authored several scientific treatises. She was a polyglot, fluent in multiple languages, and possessed exceptional diplomatic finesse. Simultaneously, legends abound, portraying her as a captivating femme fatale who held men in thrall. However, historical evidence regarding her physical beauty is somewhat ambiguous. The image of Cleopatra as a stunning beauty is largely a product of Hollywood's glamorous depictions in film. Furthermore, Octavian, the Roman emperor and adopted son of Julius Caesar, deliberately cultivated the narrative of Cleopatra as a cunning seductress, primarily because she was his adversary. Despite her Egyptian reign, Cleopatra was not of Egyptian descent. Her lineage traced back to Greek ancestry, including one of Alexander the Great's generals. Nevertheless, she was beloved by the Egyptian people. She demonstrated a genuine appreciation for their culture, mastering their language and embracing their traditions. She possessed a deep understanding of ancient Egypt's history, customs, and societal norms. She focused on bolstering the economy and elevating Egypt's standing as a global power. Much of her success can be attributed to her strategic thinking and undeniable charisma. She had a flair for the dramatic, reveling in theatrical performances and extravagant celebrations. She possessed the ability to captivate and enthrall. However, behind the opulent facade lay a sharp, calculating mind. Ancient Egypt was a realm of immense wealth and splendor, and Cleopatra was determined to amplify its riches and solidify its position on the world stage. Consider, for example, her conflict with her brother, Ptolemy Thersireter. Recognizing her disadvantage in a direct confrontation, Cleopatra sought to enlist the support of Julius Caesar. The Roman emperor journeyed to Alexandria, where Cleopatra intended to meet with him. However, Ptolemy was aware of her intentions and sought to prevent the meeting. Instead of a grand, ostentatious arrival, Cleopatra opted for a clandestine approach. She concealed herself within a carpet or linen bag, which was then carried into Caesar's private chambers by his servants. Emerging from the carpet, Cleopatra is said to have captivated the Roman emperor with her beauty and resolve. They forged a powerful alliance, becoming lovers and political allies. Later, driven by diplomatic necessity, she sought to impress another influential Roman figure, Mark Antony. She arrived to meet him aboard a magnificent golden barge, its sails dyed purple, propelled by oars of gleaming silver. Cleopatra was costumed as Aphrodite, the goddess of love, seated beneath a lavish canopy. Her attendants dressed as cupids, fanned her, and wafted incense. Cleopatra orchestrated this elaborate spectacle with deliberate intent. She knew that Antony held Greek mythology in high regard and considered himself an embodiment of Dionysus. Antony was utterly captivated by the Egyptian queen, ultimately leading to their marriage. Cleopatra secured her crown, reinforced her alliance with Rome, and bore Antony 3 children. In Egypt, they indulged in lavish celebrations, reveling in their wealth and power. However, the relationship between a high-ranking Roman official and the Egyptian queen ignited a scandal in Rome. Octavian, Antony's principal rival in the struggle for power, seized the opportunity to tarnish his competitor's reputation. He launched a propaganda campaign, portraying Cleopatra as a treacherous seductress in the eyes of Roman citizens. He accused Antony of succumbing to her charms and influence. The Roman Senate sided with Octavian and declared Cleopatra an enemy of the state. In 33 BCE, the conflict reached its zenith when Antony's navy clashed with Octavian's fleet. Octavian emerged victorious, forcing his adversary to flee to Egypt alongside Cleopatra. According to historical accounts, they sought refuge near Alexandria. Pursued by the Romans, they retreated to one of Cleopatra's palaces, where their story reached its tragic conclusion. Legends suggest that Cleopatra... Let's journey back in time to ancient Egypt, to a world shrouded in mystery and intrigue, where one queen reigned supreme, Cleopatra. Legends swirl around her demise, tales of a woman intimately acquainted with poisons. Imagine her deliberately provoking a venomous asp, perhaps an Egyptian cobra, Najahaje, to deliver its fatal bite. Or perhaps, as another legend suggests, she pricked herself with a poisoned needle, a desperate act in her final moments. Some even whisper of a secret ampule of poison concealed within her elaborate hairbrush, ready for use when cornered. A swift prick and oblivion. But the truth remains elusive. Scientists continue their quest to unravel the enigma of Cleopatra's death. Perhaps when her long-lost tomb is finally discovered, the world will gain definitive answers about her tragic fate. Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt, a queen whose reign marked the end of an era. After her death, Octavian, her adversary, seized her treasures, plundering her palaces and temples before returning to Rome. There, he rose to become the first Roman emperor, Augustus, ruling with shrewdness and expanding the empire's reach until his death at the age of 75. Imagine how different world history might have been had Cleopatra and Mark Antony triumphed in that fateful naval battle. It's a fascinating thought experiment. And consider this. More time separates Cleopatra's reign from Neil Armstrong's moon landing than from the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Armstrong's giant leap for mankind occurred in 1969, a full 2,038 years after Cleopatra's birth. The Great Pyramid, a testament to ancient ingenuity, was erected around 2560 BCE. This illustrates the immense sweep of ancient Egyptian history. Cleopatra is closer to our time than she is to the builders of the pyramids. Our journey now takes us to the northern coast of Egypt, to the ruins of Taposiris Magna, an ancient city that has faded from its former glory. But beneath its weathered stones lies a potential key to unlocking one of history's most enduring mysteries. the location of Cleopatra's tomb. Recently, archaeologists unearthed a remarkable tunnel, a geometric marvel for its time. This subterranean structure, stretching 43 feet in length, is partially submerged in water. Its design and construction echo those of the Tunnel of Eupalinos, another incredible feat of ancient engineering. The Eupalinos Tunnel, located in Greece, was built by excavating simultaneously from 2 points, meeting precisely in the middle. The mathematical and geometric precision required for such a feat is astounding, especially considering it was constructed near a mountain. Since 2004, archaeologists meticulously working at the Taposiris Magna site believe that this newly discovered tunnel may lead to Cleopatra's lost tomb. The evidence they've gathered so far lends credence to this theory. The city itself, along with its temple, was founded by Ptolemy II, one of Cleopatra's ancestors. The architecture strongly suggests a dedication to the ancient deities Osiris and his queen Isis. Throughout her reign, Cleopatra strategically associated herself with Isis, perhaps indicating that she chose this location as her final resting place. While the precise location of Cleopatra's tomb remains elusive, the search continues, aided by advanced technology. Archaeologists employ ground-penetrating radar, a non-invasive tool that allows them to analyze the subsurface without disturbing the delicate historical context. This is crucial, as the tunnel's age demands extreme caution during investigation. The ability to visualize what lies beneath the ground before excavation began in 2011, proving invaluable. The discovery of Cleopatra's tomb promises to illuminate the mysteries surrounding her life, particularly the events leading up to her death. The exact cause of her demise remains a subject of debate. The widely accepted story involves a fatal bite from a venomous Egyptian cobra, Najahaje. However, some theories suggest that Cleopatra was deeply familiar with toxic substances, even concealing them within her hairbrush for emergencies. But whether she ultimately chose to use this knowledge on herself remains an open question. Beyond the mystery of her death, Cleopatra's life was filled with fascinating details. Did you know she had a personal stylist? Most depictions of the queen feature her iconic black eyeliner, a look meticulously crafted by Aias, her personal beautician. Aias perfected the technique of tracing a long, elegant line from the eyes to the temples, a makeup style still used today to enhance the eyes. Aias was a significant figure in Cleopatra's life, serving as her confidant and close friend. Some even believe that Aias was present at her side during Cleopatra's final moments. Despite her carefully cultivated image, recent research suggests that Cleopatra may not have possessed the striking beauty often attributed to her in movies and modern depictions. While cinematic portrayals often depict her as a woman of perfect symmetry and delicate features, coins bearing her image. History paints a vivid, yet sometimes conflicting portrait of Cleopatra. While her likeness graces ancient coins, the extent to which these images were idealized remains a mystery. Perhaps the coins were crafted to project an image of strength and authority, rather than a precise representation of her features. Ancient texts, however, offer glimpses into other facets of her persona. They speak of her captivating voice and compelling personality, often prioritizing these qualities over mere physical beauty. Cleopatra, arguably the most celebrated of Egyptian queens, wasn't initially destined for the throne. Her older sister Berenice was the original heir, but fate intervened with Berenice's untimely death, thrusting Cleopatra into a position of immense power and responsibility. Seizing the opportunity, Cleopatra dedicated herself to rigorous education. She embarked on frequent journeys throughout Egypt, immersing herself in the lives and needs of her people. At the tender age of 18, she ascended to the throne, quickly earning the admiration of her subjects through her sharp intellect and refined education. A true intellectual, Cleopatra possessed a deep appreciation for literature. Homer, the legendary Greek poet and philosopher, was among her favorite authors. But Cleopatra was not merely a reader, she was also a writer. Rumors persist that she penned a book on medicine and cosmetics, though concrete evidence of this work remains elusive. In the ancient world, a ruler's proficiency in multiple languages was considered a vital asset. Cleopatra understood this implicitly, and it is said that she possessed a command of numerous languages, ranging from Greek and Egyptian to Ethiopian and various Arabic dialects. Some historians even suggest she may have spoken Latin, though evidence to support this claim is scant. While her physical appearance may not have been otherworldly, Cleopatra was meticulous about her personal presentation. Her diet, for instance, was carefully curated. She favored simple meals, particularly those featuring the bounty of the Mediterranean Sea, like a variety of fish. As a special treat, she savored stuffed pigeons, often serving them to her esteemed guests. Her culinary repertoire also included nourishing vegetable dishes and hearty fava bean soup. Fruits and nuts were staples in her diet, and she possessed a particular fondness for honey. Intriguingly, a team of modern experts recently embarked on a mission to recreate Cleopatra's signature perfume. Imagine, if you will, the ancient world's equivalent of Chanel No. 5. Cleopatra believed that luxurious scents could influence perceptions and even sway the way people treated her. The perfume's foundation was myrrh, a precious resin harvested from a local tree. Other ingredients included cardamom, olive oil, and cinnamon. The resulting fragrance was likely far more potent and enduring than the delicate perfumes we know today, boasting a thicker consistency and a scent that lingered for hours. At the zenith of her power, Cleopatra may have been the wealthiest individual on the planet. Her dominions stretched across the Mediterranean, encompassing territories from modern-day Libya in the west through Egypt and all the way to Syria in the east, the largest territory ever governed by a woman. Her net worth, in today's currency, could have reached a staggering 95 billion. Remarkably, the calendar system we use today may owe its origins to Cleopatra. She introduced the concepts of leap years and leap days to Julius Caesar, the Roman emperor with whom she shared a close relationship. Heeding her advice, Caesar incorporated these adjustments into the official Roman calendar. The ancient Egyptians had long recognized that the year was slightly longer than 365 days, a discovery made through meticulous observation of Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Their calculations revealed that a year actually consisted of 365 and 1/4 days. Cleopatra's iconic status in popular culture was cemented by Elizabeth Taylor's portrayal of the Queen in the 1963 film Cleopatra. At the time, it was the most expensive film ever produced. Originally budgeted at around $2 million, the film's costs ballooned to an astonishing $44 million, largely due to script revisions and production challenges. The creation of this cinematic masterpiece required the construction of 79 elaborate sets and the creation of over 26,000 costumes for the cast. Elizabeth Taylor's Cleopatra costumes alone cost approximately $200,000. Fortunately for the producers, the film generated considerable buzz and garnered positive reviews, ultimately becoming a box office triumph. Many people mistakenly associate Cleopatra with another famous Egyptian ruler, the boy King Tutankhamun, often referred to as King Tut. However, aside from their shared status as Egyptian pharaohs, the two figures have little in common. King Tut lived approximately 1,300 years before Cleopatra. Furthermore, there is no ancestral connection between them. Cleopatra's lineage was Macedonian Greek, while King Tut was of native Egyptian descent. Imagine that. Two rulers, millennia apart, forever linked in the popular imagination, yet separated by time and heritage. Imagine you're just 15 years old, and boredom with video games leads you down a completely unexpected path. Instead of digital adventures, you decide to dust off an old interest, tracking down lost Mayan cities. Rumors have always swirled about ancient civilizations constructing entire urban centers based on the constellations. Intrigued, you set out to investigate if this held true for the Mayans. You managed to find an ancient tome containing the constellations recognized by the Mayan civilization. Next, opening up Google Maps, you begin plotting every known ancient Mayan city discovered to date. A pattern starts to emerge, a fascinating correlation. The largest and most prominent Mayan cities appear to align with the brightest and most significant stars within those Mayan constellations. Intriguing, isn't it? You meticulously map over 100 ancient cities when you stumble upon something truly peculiar. In Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, archaeologists have already unearthed 2 Mayan cities. However, according to the ancient constellation map, there should be 3 stars in that particular configuration. Could this indicate a long-lost city patiently waiting to be discovered nearby? It might sound like a fanciful daydream, but this story is remarkably true. This is the tale of William Godori, a Canadian teenager, a science prodigy who even received an award for the constellation theory he developed. Upon realizing that a third city was missing from the 23rd constellation he was examining, he launched an intense search across the internet for satellite images that could help him solve the puzzle. He delved into images from NASA, JAXA, a Japanese satellite company, and Google Earth. But these images weren't enough to answer his questions. He then reached out to a friend within the Canadian Space Agency. This friend provided him with advanced, state-of-the-art satellite imagery, finally providing the answer he sought. The images revealed a large, square-shaped area situated right on the border between Mexico and Belize. This area bore all the hallmarks of a lost city's remains. William presented these images to Dr. Armin Laro, a remote sensing expert from the University of New Brunswick. After careful study, they concluded that the area could contain as many as 30 buildings and even a large pyramid. The scientific and archaeological community was electrified by the 15-year-old's discovery. Could this really be true? Let's take a step back. The unearthing of lost Mayan cities began in the mid-19th century. Since then, the ruins of cities like Tikal, Palenque, and Huacactun have been brought back to light. The Mayans were one of the most significant pre-Columbian civilizations in the Americas. Their settlements in the region began as early as 1500 BCE. Experts estimate that, at its peak, the Mayan civilization comprised over 40 cities, with a population reaching into the millions. A truly impressive civilization. Their cities were remarkable. Their civilization spread across Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, and Belize. They were primarily an agricultural society, developing intricate irrigation systems in most of their cities. They erected a multitude of ceremonial buildings, pyramids, plazas, and even courts for playing ritual ball games. The Mayans were renowned pyramid builders, but they also developed an incredibly advanced astronomical system. Using their ancient technology, they could predict the precise location of planets such as Venus and Mars. They could even predict the exact dates of eclipses. Therefore, William's methodology for discovering this long-lost Mayan city, while unusual, wasn't entirely out of the realm of possibility. The Mayans were keen astronomers, so it wouldn't be surprising if they built their major architectural wonders in relation to the sky, would it? And they wouldn't be the first to do so. There's a famous, if somewhat fringe, area of Egyptology dedicated to studying how the Giza pyramids were built in perfect alignment with the Orion constellation. The theory suggests each pyramid was purposefully built to align with one of the major stars of Orion's belt. According to William, the idea to examine the Mayan constellations came to him because he couldn't understand why the Mayans had chosen to build their cities where they did. Most major cities, such as Chichen Itza and Uxmal, aren't near any rivers or significant bodies of water. Instead, they're built on marginal lands and atop mountains, a fact that puzzled the 15-year-old. His next thought was that the answer might be connected to astronomy. William christened the newly discovered city Mouth of Fire, and even received a merit award for his diligent work. However, his theory faced strong opposition within the archaeological community, with many Mayan experts working to disprove William's findings. Some archaeologists argue that these constellation theories. Let's journey back in time, leaving behind the familiar world we know. We're diving into the realm of archaeology, where the past whispers secrets waiting to be unearthed. Once, the methods employed by amateur William Godori to locate a lost Mayan city were met with considerable skepticism. Anthony Aveni, a respected figure in both anthropology and astronomy, critiqued William's approach, suggesting it relied more on imaginative leaps than solid scientific methodology. Aveni pointed out the inherent difficulty in definitively identifying Mayan constellations, emphasizing the speculative nature of such endeavors. Adding to the doubts, Mayanist David Stewart proposed an alternative explanation for the object spotted in satellite images, simply an old cornfield. A subsequent expedition in 2021, venturing to the area in question, seemingly corroborated Stewart's claim, with archaeologists reporting no significant findings. Yet, the allure of discovering lost cities remains strong. Imagine a young teenager on the cusp of a major discovery. While Gadori's find remains debated, similar remote sensing techniques are revolutionizing archaeology. Sarah Parcak, a leading space archaeologist, highlights the pivotal role of satellite imagery in uncovering ancient settlements across the globe, from Egypt to South America. Parcak explains that buried structures leave subtle traces on the landscape. Over time, vegetation, soil, sand, or even modern construction will cover these hidden sites. Infrared technology allows archaeologists to penetrate dense vegetation canopies and analyze subsurface features. Think of it as X-ray vision for the Earth. Consider a recent groundbreaking discovery in Brazil. Satellite imagery revealed an intricate network of trenches dating back to between 200 and 1200 CE. These earthworks hinted at settlements capable of supporting an estimated 60,000 inhabitants. In this instance, the satellite data aligned perfectly with on-the-ground evidence. Researchers from the University of Florida identified several mounds, complete with accompanying ditches and enigmatic geoglyphs. Archaeologists also unearthed the remains of carefully constructed walls encircling central plazas, architectural features reminiscent of ancient Mayan designs. Advancements in satellite technology are also providing fresh perspectives on well-known Mayan cities, such as Tikal. Nestled deep within the Guatemalan jungle, Tikal is believed to have been the capital of the ancient Mayan Empire. During its zenith, Tikal rivaled the prominence of modern metropolises like London or New York. The city comprised an array of elaborate monuments, many thought to be the final resting places of Mayan kings and elite figures. While Tikal's grandeur was already recognized, recent discoveries suggest its true extent may have been underestimated. Imagine a city 3 times larger than previously thought. A major find involves a fortification located on the city's periphery, indicating just how far Tikal once stretched. And the discoveries continue. In 2017, researchers uncovered new insights into the factors that may have contributed to the Mayan civilization's decline. By analyzing radiocarbon data from ceramics and archaeological digs at a site near Sable, located approximately 62 miles southwest of Tikal, scientists gleaned new information about the demise of this once great civilization. The evidence suggests a gradual decline, characterized by waves of social unrest and political instability, rather than a sudden catastrophic collapse. These tumultuous events likely weakened Mayan city centers, leading to the dispersal of the population. Now is the perfect time to unearth ancient ruins, wouldn't you agree? Let's shift our focus to another enduring mystery: Atlantis. Could the legendary city actually be real? The tale of Atlantis originates with Plato in ancient Greece. He spoke of a civilization that rose to prominence long before our own. Atlantis was described as a technologically advanced society, much like the Mayans. But, according to the legend, the Atlanteans' greed led to their downfall, punished by a devastating flood that submerged their cities beneath the waves. Theories abound regarding Atlantis' possible location. Some place it in the Mediterranean Sea, while others speculate it lies hidden beneath the Bermuda Triangle. However, modern science suggests that Atlantis may be more of an allegorical tale, a reflection of human nature and the potential consequences of unchecked ambition. But the ocean holds real submerged cities, lost to time and tide. Prepare to explore some amazing underwater cities that you've probably never heard of. These are not myths, but tangible remnants of past civilizations. Our first stop, Baia, an underwater city situated off the coast of Italy. Known as the Las Vegas of the Roman Empire, Baia was a luxurious resort destination. Roman elites flocked to Baia for relaxation and entertainment. Picture an open-air spa, a place of indulgence and pleasure. That was Baia. Today, You can explore the submerged city through scuba diving, getting up close to remarkably preserved Roman sculptures. It's a true underwater wonder, a testament to the grandeur of the Roman Empire. Through glass-bottom boats, you can catch glimpses of the crumbled temples and buildings, a silent testament to a vibrant past.